most important thing we can learn on a spiritual journey is how to trust ourselves. If we can't master this here in the third dimension, then how are we going to navigate infinity? In this video, I'm going to show you the importance of fully trusting yourself, knowing yourself, and how to do it. And at the end of this video, there will be a self-trust activation to support your energy field. As beings, we come in with a natural impulse to trust ourselves, and over time, this gets distorted into an impulse to not trust ourselves, and instead, we rely on others or perceived authority figures for guidance and validation. The intensity of this depends on how you were raised and the type of cultural, social, and religious programming you were exposed to. These are all veils preventing us from truly knowing ourselves. Does it always just come back to that one truth we know, which is to go within? Yes, that's always the answer. The problem is we don't trust it because we don't know ourselves. Once you truly know yourself, when you drop the personas and discover the authentic self, there isn't a mistrust of going within. When we meet our true self, we attract the people and opportunities into our lives that are in alignment with our authentic self. And when we are in alignment with our authentic self, trust is automatic. Learning how to trust ourselves becomes easier when we go through the process of dropping our personas and knowing ourselves. This is about meeting the person behind the persona, or behind the mask. This requires us to excavate the parts of us that have been hidden since childhood, or the parts of us that just want to be. These are the parts of ourselves that we shut down in our youth from shame, programming, indoctrination, or trauma. These are the parts of us that at some point learned you are not safe to be you. We show up as the version of ourselves that we created to survive our childhoods. When one goes through a spiritual awakening, they start to see these aspects and can appreciate them for how far they've gotten them in life. But they also know it's time to heal and integrate them if those parts were created out of trauma or don't represent who they currently are. This doesn't mean we're ashamed of those aspects. We might even still need some of them. But this is speaking to our authentic selves who we meet through inner child work, parts work, and shadow work that can now fully come forward and see where they fit in our present time consciousness. To learn how to do inner child work, you can watch my video called How to Heal Your Inner Child. As you integrate what you learn from inner child work and shadow work, which is a continuous process, you will meet who you truly are. Knowing yourself in this way is what makes you more intuitive because it will get you in touch with your feelings. Feeling your emotions is how you will learn to fully trust yourself. If you don't know what a yes or what a no feels like in your gut or in your heart, then how can you make a decision that's based on having ultimate trust in yourself? Our intuition is our internal GPS system. It is our higher power and our true authority, and this is what we've been disconnected from. When we deprogram ourselves from the powerlessness that we're programmed to feel, we stop giving our power away to authority figures or anyone in our lives who we think knows what's better for our paths than we do. Life is always giving us the opportunity to listen to ourselves and access our inner wisdom. And the way we receive even more guidance from the universe is by demonstrating we're one with it through the choices we make and trusting ourselves. Going within for every answer we need becomes easier when we actually make it a practice. We live in a reality that considers getting information from within or relying on our intuition as illogical or having some sort of resistance to the brain. In actuality, trusting our intuition involves harmony from both the heart and the brain. The resistance to go within and trust ourselves isn't entirely our fault. As soon as we're born, we operate under a form of amnesia, and life becomes a journey of awakening and remembering. Some souls have contracts to never experience this, but when we start to see through the veils of this reality, it doesn't stop. And then we go on a journey where we learn the spiritual doctrine and we get the information we need from our teachers, and yet there's always something unresolved. And that's always going to be the piece that can only be retrieved by you through going within. If you are in a difficult situation where you have to make big decisions and navigate your own way through, remember that everything that shows up in our physical reality is a reflection of the metaphysical. This is the exact challenge you set up for yourself to expand your consciousness and evolve so that you can navigate infinity. Use your triggers to expand your consciousness and heal more deeply. Take on everything that's right in front of you as the best lesson for your growth, and trust that any action you take is exactly what you're supposed to do. Once you make a choice, trust it. This is how you show the universe you believe in yourself. Self-doubt is the greatest block to creating the timeline you wish to align with. Doubting yourself will only delay what you want to create until you show the universe you've learned the lesson of complete self-trust. Sometimes we can track the moment we stopped trusting ourselves, and it usually involves pain. Pain is very real, and it's part of the human experience to want to go through life avoiding pain and suffering. So much so that we mistrust anything that feels like it can create more pain in our lives. So we make up a false system to help avoid our lives and pain. And the way we do this is by not trusting ourselves, because there's a moment we can all point to where we trusted ourselves and it resulted in pain. Maybe we made a choice to go for something we wanted or took a risk that ended in painful consequences. The other truth is that those risks and dramas we seem to have created were actually good for us. Those were healings taking place. They were soul contracts or agreements we made on a higher level to accelerate our spiritual journeys or catalyze our awakenings. We don't always know what those soul contracts are until we pass, but what we can do is recognize that we are constantly learning and growing and eventually come to a place of gratitude for our experiences. We can't trust the times we didn't trust ourselves then, can we? That's the illusion, that we cannot trust ourselves, that our perceived mistakes are actual blunders. Feeling pain doesn't mean we're being punished. It's an end result of being informed and navigating physicality in some respects. The point is that when you are struggling, to not let mistrust of yourself, your path, and your life become your truth. The incidents in your life that created that mistrust are just lessons the soul needed to evolve. The quantum is a field of information, but so is this reality. Life on earth and truly living is how we get the information our soul needs from a physical incarnation. So trust your experiences. Trust what is showing up in your life in this exact moment. Even if it's heartbreak or loss, trust that you are strong enough to learn, heal, and grow. Life can be devastating on one level, and then the ride of your life on another. Be open, willing, and courageous enough to accept it all and trust that you are the one who knows how to navigate it best. We all want clarity, and it doesn't always come in the form of an instant download. It may require a destruction of the former self and personas that felt real and got us to where we needed to be. But who emerges at the end of a dark night of the soul or period of conflict is now the clearest version of you that is now guiding you. This version of you is the one creating the highest and best possible timeline for yourself. Remember to ask the universe for guidance and clarity. You can do this simply through intention. Life can feel like a puzzle with thousands of pieces at the highest difficulty. Picture a puzzle where it's all one solid color. Where do you even begin? It's much easier when it has a drawing with several colors so that you can group the different pieces together to start making more sense out of it. This is a metaphor for the journey we designed and signed up for on the higher self level. You're the one that's here to piece it all together, and you can call on your higher self and trust your higher self to guide you. To learn more about the higher self, you can watch my video called How to Connect to Your Higher Self. One of the hardest lessons for all of us to come to terms with is that everything happens exactly as it's meant to. The universe gives us the medicine we need. There's no would've, should've, or could've, or wishing the lessons came in a different form. Trusting the universe and trusting ourselves is interrelated because we are the universe. Part of the human experience is feeling that pain and overcoming it. That's what creates peace. And we wouldn't know peace without the contrast of that pain. And many of us incarnated to the school of earth to experience that contrast and grow from it until we no longer need to learn from duality. So we face it head on in order to transcend it. As you navigate your healing journey, begin the practice of feeling what feels like truth to you and what doesn't. You can search for a feeling in your heart, gut, or where you feel a strong pull of energy. See what feels heavy or sour in those areas and then compare it to what feels still or peaceful. You can always just ask yourself, does this add more love to my life or subtract love from my life? You can form this into any system or phrasing that works for you and trust the answers you get. If you feel self-doubt start to creep in, repeat the self-trust activation out loud to reset yourself. I trust myself. I trust my journey because I trust my strength. I trust who I am and who I am becoming. And so it is. Self-trust begins with a sincere and honest dive into ourselves. Anytime we look deeply at ourselves, it demonstrates how deeply we love ourselves. It's an exact reflection. Always lead with self-love and always trust yourself. If you can trust yourself here on earth, you can trust yourself anywhere in the multiverse.